drop that heat.
So episode 8 of Persona 5 pretty much starts off how you expected it to start off. We first see Yusuke, and then we see Madarame, and he's speaking to a couple of people, and then all of a sudden someone comes up to him, and he hands him something. And of course this something is a piece of paper, and it's the calling card from the Phantom Thieves, because obviously Ren, Yusuke, and the others are trying to, get the treasure to be visibly there inside the palace, so that way they can grab it and then get the hell out of there. So that way Madarame can then have his change of heart. He's reading it, and then of course, because this has to be plastered pretty much fucking everywhere, everyone is expecting this to happen, but of course some people have doubts because they don't believe that the Phantom Thieves truly exist. But regardless, the calling card works, and then immediately after the intro, they're inside of the palace. But before that, of course, we have a little bit of exposition stuff with Sainijima and whatever she has to fucking do because she's an investigative reporter and all that jazz. But soon after, it doesn't really matter. That scene doesn't really matter in the long run. But we go back into where we're at, and the Phantom Thieves are there inside the palace, and they're getting ready to steal the treasure. But the treasure is completely protected by a security system. By Madarame, he's actually inside with the treasure that's completely covered up and they can't see what it actually is, and by a whole bunch of guards. So essentially what they have to do is that they have to knock out the power, lower Morgana with a crane, so that way he can then, get to the fucking treasure and then leave with it. And it turns out when they try to leave, that it wasn't the treasure at all. It was actually just a fake of some random doodle of like some face. It's not anything important, because Madarame actually has the treasure. And of course, because he wants to taunt them, he shows them what the treasure actually is. And it's the real Sayuri painting that Madarame had stolen from a female pupil a long time ago. And Yusuke starts putting the pieces together, and he realizes that the Sayuri painting was created by his mother, and the baby that's in the picture is actually him. Is actually Yusuke as a baby. It's a self-portrait of Yusuke's mother, and that's what she painted. And the reason why Madarame had covered up the baby inside the picture in Sayuri is because he wanted it to be a mystery of why Sayuri, the woman in the painting, actually showed off the expression that she did. And he wanted there to be a mystery behind it, and if Yusuke as a baby inside the portrait was there, then the mystery would have been completely resolved and it didn't matter. And obviously Madarame stole it from his mother, but the fucked up part about this, and the reason why this is a really fucking terrible thing that he did, is because he says, ironically, his mother started having a seizure right in front of him. And he thought if he didn't help her at all, nothing would matter and he could just steal the painting and get away with it. So essentially, he indirectly killed Yusuke's mother. Not actually killed her, but indirectly he did kill her by not, seeking any medical attention for her, because she was there having a seizure right in front of him and he did nothing. And then Yusuke, he pretty much didn't care about Madarame anymore. He had, doubts of doing this stuff, and he didn't really want to do this because, of course, Madarame, he owed his life to Madarame, but now he pretty much doesn't care, and now he just wants to get payback in some sort, right? So Madarame then transforms into some weird painting monster thing. Like, it's like 5 paintings, but like one of them is an eye, another one of them is an eye, there's a nose, and then there's like a mouth. It's really weird. Go watch the scene, or go watch the boss fight that's from the video game on YouTube. It's an interesting boss fight, but it's like really weird. So stuff goes normally as it does. They can't really injure Madarame whatsoever, and then he starts spewing out fucking paint from his mouth, black paint, and it lands on An, and it saps most of her strength and power. And then they realize that they can do the exact same thing with him, because that's how Madarame sees the painting as, because earlier in the same scene he was talking about I paint over my problems, and essentially that gave him power, not visibly but notably in the real world and in the cognitive world inside the palace. That's doing the exact same thing in some sort of form of fashion, right? So then what happens after is, of course, they paint over Madarame with the black paint, and then they're able to do a lot more damage on him, right? And then they finally win, they beat him, and then Yusuke takes the painting from Madarame, the original Sayuri painting, and Yusuke's pretty much just telling him, just confess your sins. I'm not gonna kill you, but just actually, you know, show off your own artwork for once instead of, basically plagiarizing from others. I got a tweet from one of my friends, and I need to fucking go into the DMs and talk to him because something happened, but that's not important right now in the video. But then, of course, the next day, Madarame then confesses what he did for, abusing his pupils and, plagiarizing their work. And everybody in the world now knows of what happened. And then, of course, because everybody knows, everyone is talking about it. So everybody around, the whole Shibuya area that, where they actually broadcasted it on, and all the TVs and stuff, they're talking about it. And then at the schools, actually, they're all talking about it as well. And they all thought, oh, it's the Phantom Thieves again, like what happened with Kamoshida. And then, they obviously put two and two together if the Phantom Thieves went over with Kamoshida and whatever they're doing, and with the whole Madarame stuff, they all just, it's really weird. In the scene where like students are talking inside of the classroom, they're like, oh yeah, they go to this school too. I'm just like, how the fuck did they find that out? I mean, they're not gonna figure out who the actual students are, but it's whatever. So the next scene, they're at the train station, and of course, because they stole the treasure and they brought it back into the real world, Yusuke finally has the original Sayuri painting with him. And then, of course, because he wanted to move out of that house because it has a whole bunch of demons for him, he wanted to move out. And I guess he wanted to move in with An, which was really weird. She says no, and then Morgana's like, how about you come fucking move in with us? Because fuck it, right? He could have gone to, the school dorms that he goes to, but he didn't want to do that. And spoilers, he actually ends up moving over there to the school dorms anyways, because he thinks it would be a lot smarter for him to actually interact with more people than he already is doing right now with his current friends, and then obviously, all the stuff that happened with Madarame. And then a whole bunch of exposition stuff happens, after they go back to LeBlanc. And it's a lot of important exposition stuff, because not only does Yusuke learn more about Ren's backstory and why he's, in this kind of, area, but we also learn, I mean, I already knew this, but for people who are watching the show for the first time and haven't played the video games, or the video game Persona 5, we learn that Ryuji and An have actually known each other for a long time, ever since middle school, and her backstory isn't really anything important, or it's not that it's not important, it's just that it's not as, kind of depressing as, someone like Ren's, is because she was kind of like a loner type. She didn't have very much friends, and Ryuji was there, and I guess he didn't really talk to her that much, but they knew each other, right? And Ryuji also explains a lot of his backstory as well, in the sense of when he was younger, his dad, left him and his mom, and then his mom was a single mom, and then he said he wanted to get a track scholarship so he could make things easier on her, and then of course all the stuff that happened with Kamoshida, that all happened, and then he felt really bad, he felt really bad for what he was doing, and now he feels like he actually didn't do good enough in the sense of, getting the scholarship, because he's pretty much lost that opportunity. So Yusuke also learns a lot more of Ryuji's backstory and An's backstory, and then he learns Ren's backstory. And then An actually makes the notion of, she feels like she's known all of them for a really long time, and she can't really put any words to it, and I can't really explain it either, because I actually forgot bits and pieces of what happened in the video game, but I don't really remember them mentioning this ever. It was kind of weird. So Ryuji and An, they leave Ren and Yusuke, because Yusuke is going to be there for the night. He sleeps there, and then he decides to wake up the next morning and leave to go to his school's dorms. And just before he leaves, he has some coffee from I I have a page up for the characters' names that I don't fucking remember. Sojiro Sakura. I have the page of character names so I don't forget them, but he gets coffee from Sojiro and LeBlanc, and then he actually decides to leave the original Sayuri painting inside of LeBlanc, and then he leaves. And just before the episode fully ends, they tell us the next episode name, and it's Operation like Maid Work, I think, from what I remember. And I guess I'll just go ahead and say it. It has to do with Miss Kawakami, the teacher from the school that they go to. I mean like Ren in the school that he goes to, and it has basically stuff to do with her. I feel like we're gonna have a couple of like filler-ish kind of episodes, but all this ends up making more sense later on down the line towards the end of whenever the anime ends. So regardless, it was a really good episode. I really enjoyed it. The music was really good. The visuals looked really good. All of it was really good. I really enjoyed myself, and I feel like there was a couple of soundtracks, mainly the last soundtrack that we hear at the end of the episode. I don't remember ever hearing that one. I feel like that one is new, and it's not in the game, but it's in the anime, and it sounded really good. I liked it. So regardless, that's the end of the episode, which means that's the end of the video. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like, and if you are new to the channel, please consider hitting that subscribe button for more videos just like this. I'll see you guys in the next one. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. I'm out. Peace.